Good afternoon, David Alexander. I'm the new CEO looking after just over 10,000 properties in Scotland, Aberdeen, St Andrews, Glasgow, and where I'm based in Edinburgh. And I would like to welcome everyone, and I really appreciate the business that you've given us over the years. I'm very passionate about the rental market. It's been my life for 4 decades, and as long as they're happy to keep me, I intend to be here, hopefully to the 5th decade. But I am here, I am available at any time, and please don't hesitate to get in touch if you have any questions, any advice. Always happy to help in any way I can. Thank you. Well, undoubtedly, the biggest change coming out of the pandemic was the outside space issue. Historically, outside space, especially in rented properties, was a bit of a burden. Looking after someone's garden, making sure it was neat and tidy. But the one thing that came out during and after the pandemic was the absolute requirement to have some outside space. We found tenants giving notice in properties that they were already in, and then re-renting things with outside space. In the sales market, we noticed great premiums for properties with especially west and south facing gardens, but that outside space was the undoubted thing that people have put an incredible value on, and that I think will stay with us for a very long time. Well, Q1 has been a very exciting, interesting time. Demand exceeding supply in both rental and the sales market. Properties coming onto the market in the sales market and selling within days, way above home report valuations. And again, this outside space area obviously doing very well. On the rental market, again, demand exceeding supply. Very, very limited supply coming onto the market. Normally in Q1 we've maybe got 150, 200 units available. We were averaging 70, and as you can see, not that many people giving notice, not that many properties coming new to the market, creating this situation of demand grossly exceeding supply. So things renting very quickly and an undersupply of units both in the sales and the rental market. Look, I think it's fair to say that common sense would tell me that this can't continue indefinitely. The war in Ukraine, rising interest rates, inflation at an all-time record, in my opinion, will mean that we'll see a bit of softening in the property sales market. So I don't expect things to continue to do as well as they have done, but we've still faced with this undersupply. So anything coming on the market that is well presented and is of good quality is still obtaining pretty substantial prices. But logic would tell me that we'll see a bit of a slowdown in the market as we reach the end of the year. The rental market, I think, will continue to stay strong. There is still a shortage of units out there. There's even more potential shortage with the new regulations that the government are looking to bring in Scotland. So again, I think we'll see demand exceeding supply and rents being very firm for the time being. So the Scottish Government in their wisdom is consulting on a better deal for tenants. Now, quite frankly, the Scottish tenants have a better deal than anywhere else in the devolved nations, in the 4 nations. And it would certainly seem to me that the pendulum is swinging very much to the side of the tenant. And the reality is, if you give tenants more and you take away from the landlord, it doesn't become an attractive place to invest. And you know, we've got to expect rents to rise. A pint of beer doesn't cost the same as it cost 10 years ago. So the costs that landlords have today are substantially higher than they had 10 years ago. So it's unreasonable to assume that inflation will not filter through to the rental market. So the changes that they're consulting on is potential rent controls, is potentially tenants being able to decorate a property at no detriment to them, pets being allowed into properties. Now, some of these things are potentially workable, but you just have to be careful. If you keep killing the goose that's laying the golden egg, landlords will sell up, disappear from the market, and there'll be an even more acute shortage of units. Look, I undoubtedly think having a diverse portfolio of assets is a sensible thing, and having good quality residential property, especially in the capital of Scotland or in Glasgow, will prove to be a good long-term investment. So anyone who's sitting with a bit of spare cash, it would be sensible, I think, to have property in their portfolio. Potentially interest rates will continue to rise, so you don't want to be too heavily geared. Keep it sensible, but I definitely think investing in the Scottish property market will be a good long-term investment. The sales market, I think, will continue to be strong, and if you do want to diverse and come out the market, this is potentially a good time to do it. But it's all about long-term investment, and I think long-term investment in the Scottish property market will certainly do you very well.